When I started MetaHelm, I went all in. I did not think I had any time limit, no boundaries with my energy. I was working day and night. I was so passionate. I treated it like my baby, and it's still my baby. But this baby now has grown up. MetaHelm is about 8-year-olds pretty soon. 8-year-old. It's an 8-year-old business. Yes, already. And I learned one thing, is that this baby cannot grow if me, the parent entrepreneur, does not sustain a healthy level of productivity. This business is not going to go anywhere if I don't put my oxygen mask first, as the metaphor says. This business here is not going to scale if I burn out. That's for sure. That's a given. Yet, the narrative of entrepreneurship is it's plagued. It has this built inside. The fact that we can just be overworked, right? And that's not healthy, and it is absolutely not necessary. In fact, the opposite is true. The more we work within our business, the more we have this mentality that we can't be replaced, the less we can scale it. If we try to occupy every seat in the business, do everything ourselves, control everything, we don't leave any room for anyone to come in and help. This is something that I really struggled with for a long time. In my previous businesses, I really had a terrible time scaling. It was really, really hard, and I think we took those businesses as far and as much as we could, but I don't think we did a really good job at scaling without burnout. In fact, it was probably around 2000, I think. Yeah, it was my second business. I was so everywhere that, number one, my neighbors in Paris thought that I was a flight attendant. Yeah, I am not a flight attendant, I'm a consultant, but I was traveling so much. I was just everywhere, somewhere different in Europe, that and they saw me, coming in and out with my little carry-on suitcase, and they thought I was a flight attendant. So one day, we finally met, in the elevator. We knew each other, but the lady goes, the older lady, in fact, goes, "You are so lucky to be a flight attendant." Right. The second story I want to share with you is that around the same time, and that's unfortunate. That's a pretty sad story. But I was so burnt out. I was so exhausted that after dinner one night with colleagues, I fainted and I fell on the ground on the curb. Not a bad example. Not a good example, sorry. A very bad example. A very bad example. Don't do that, of course. Healthy productivity is about not running and putting out every fire everywhere. It's about intentionally choosing where to put your creative energy and where to have the maximum amount of efficiency in your business. Right? There are different levels. Initially, because the business starts maybe with you and a co-founder and a small team, you will have a tendency to just want to be everywhere because also resources are scarce. You probably can't hire a lot of people, so you'll be very, very scrappy. Many entrepreneurs we're very creative, right? We love to solve problems. We are so proud of saying, hey, yeah, in my business, I do everything from, closing deals, sending invoices to cleaning the restroom. Yeah, it's the pride sometimes we have. We have no ego. We like to roll up our sleeve and do it all. And we can do it all, and that's okay. But when it comes time to scale the business, how do we do that? So if you're running you're feeling like you're getting, stretched thin. If you feel like you have to be everywhere, you need to be to control everything. you feel like you can't. You believe you believe that you cannot hire anyone. These are examples. These are symptoms that you need to start really working on your healthy productivity. That you need to change your mindset about scaling your business. I talk from experience. With MetaHelm, that's something that I knew I had a weakness, from the get-go, because I had previous experience with other businesses where I got pretty bad at it. But with MetaHelm, from the get-go, I knew I wanted to scale this business, and it took a few years, but I knew it was coming. So from the get-go, I took simple and concrete actions to do so. First of all, I measured and I recorded my time from the beginning. So I have data since 2016, recording everything I do in this business to really understand, not to sell my time, but to really understand how I spend my time, right? What's going on? So I built a database. I built a database of the time I spend in that business. Second of all, I built my ideal week, my ideal schedule over time. It took me, quite a bit of time. It took me a while to really understand how my level of energy and my preferences, what I like to do during the week, during the day with my family, where does this fit in, so that the business doesn't own my ideal schedule, but I own my business within my ideal schedule. So I built that. That's another structure I put in place. It's another system I put in place, and I highly encourage you to build. Another thing I started doing is, once I knew and I had a really much better picture of my time and energy. I had this audit, how I spend my time and where my energy goes. I started mapping what do I do and what takes my energy, what brings me energy, and also what impacts the business when I give that energy. Where does this energy, what do I get in return for that energy, and for the energy I give? And if I get energy out of a task, is this even good for the business, right? It's good for me, but is this even good for the business, right? Yeah, I can spend my days doing fun stuff here that gives me energy, meditation, taking care of my little plants here in my office, drawing, things like that, chatting with people, but is that really any good for the business, right? So I developed those structures, those structural elements, so that I have a system in place that enables me to really leave the struggle of not having boundaries, really understand how this healthy productivity mechanism work. So the goal here is to be productive, is to be efficient while staying joyful, while fueling your heart, while making sure that what you're best at, what brings you the most joy, also feeds the business and makes it thriving and sustainable and scalable. So over time, what I think that I'm doing is that I am constantly replacing myself. What do I do to do that? And this is a framework I want to share with you. First of all, I look at everything I do during the week, and I constantly challenge myself with, hey, is this necessary? Like this video I'm recording, right? It's going to go on YouTube, but somewhere else too. But this video I'm recording now, right? Is this really necessary? Should I stop doing this? And from a standpoint, I don't have a lot of, compared to other channels on YouTube, my videos don't get a very small amount of views, right? Maybe, a few dozens at the most. So what's the benefit? So I always keep that in mind. What's the benefit? Well, this video actually helps me cultivate my perspective. It helps me clarify my ideas, so that when I show up in front of my groups and my clients, when I write, my ideas are already well thought through. I've explored them as deeply as possible. So I challenge that. Are the things that I do even necessary? The second thing that I do is what can I automate? And let me tell you, this is no news for you. Now with our computers and especially with AI, we can automate, we can accelerate the work so much more. Yes, I use AI for writing. I don't let AI write on my behalf, but I use it as a creative partner to explore my ideas, challenge my critical thinking on what I write, things like that. And so I automate things as much as possible. So I have automated my writing workflow, but I also automate with a few email sequences. I have not yet used Zapier, that app called Zapier a lot, but I have it a little bit, but I think it's going to grow over time. So I want my processes to be as automated as possible. And then comes the question, like, what can I delegate? And that's my difficulty. That's my challenge, because I was not raised with that mindset. I was raised by multiple entrepreneurs. I come from two families of entrepreneurs, but small businesses where the mindset is you have to work really hard. You have to do everything yourself. You have to be left, right, up, down. You have to do as much as you can. And that's not something, unfortunately, I learned in school, in previous businesses. I didn't have that chance. So now I'm really working on what is it that I can delegate. And let me tell you, it's going well. It's a slow process. I try to give things away, as much as possible. But I came up with a list of the first things that I should try to delegate. The one thing that I do not delegate yet in my business is the sales process. I'm too small for that. Selling at my level is too close to still too close to my ideas, and so that's probably one of the last thing I will delegate. But ultimately I will get there. Now, what I can already delegate are administrative tasks, marketing tasks, and a little bit of the work that I produce for my clients or my groups or my classes and trainings and so on. So I'm already there. I'm like, okay, giving things to do a little bit. But one promise I made to myself is that I would not delegate anything. I would not bring anybody on board if until my expectation wouldn't be clear. So I've developed a system of clear procedures. I have a document that I call how to do it, where I map as much as possible and I describe as much as possible what is happening in my business. So you may have heard of all those techniques, and you may think they are just trivial and maybe unnecessary, but that's really how you scale without the burnout. It starts from within. It starts from you. What makes you happy, what makes you joyful, what makes you excited to do, and then it goes out, from you to the outside. Like, how can you really create that system from within towards other people? So I hope this is helpful. I hope this topic of healthy productivity is interesting to you, and I was able to give you a few insights here on how you need to start your journey. So start tracking your time, start designing your ideal week, start documenting your processes as soon as possible, start thinking about what you need to automate, start thinking about what you need to delegate, to eliminate, start also recognizing and celebrating what you're really good at, like what brings you joy during your day and has efficacy in your business, whether it's profitability or impact on your processes and so on. But you need to build that business even if you haven't started yet, even if you're on your own, because to keep going you will have to scale that business. Good luck, and let me know how it goes.